Welcome to The Pullbags, Back Issue Classics. Join us as we talk about comics from yesteryear, from DC, Marvel, and more. So open your ears to hear our discussion of the older continuities, as the Back Issue Classics are also what's in The Pullbag.
Hi, this is Kevin Conroy, and you're listening to the GEEK-STUFF Radio Network.
Says we're getting close.
Eyes open, Turtles. If I know Shredder, he's got a few more tricks up his pointed sleeve.
And like, here come a bunch of them now.
Sorry, no turtle waxing today.
All right, we really wiped the floor with those floor wipers, huh?
Hello and welcome to The Pullbag. This is Back Issue Classics, episode 71. I am, of course, TFT Mike, your host. Joining me, as per usual when it comes to TMNT stuff, is Joe Reed.
Hello! It's been forever. I'm glad to be back and be looking at Turtles books.
Yeah, the last one we did was 59 and 60. Mm-hmm. And the next one we'll do after this is 61 to 64, because 64 hasn't come out yet, I don't think. I don't even remember if 63's out yet. I don't know. But anyway, we're here because IDW and DC Comics teamed up to give us what we have been waiting for since the 80s. Batman TMNT crossover.
I really do think that this is the crossover that they settled for because Marvel wouldn't let them have the Daredevil. This is as close as we're going to get to a Ninja Turtles Daredevil thing, I think, ever. And I don't remember who I was talking to about it, but I think now that Disney owns Marvel, that
it was me.
We'll never see it because Disney's just they write things in their contract that hurt other people, and I'm sure Nickelodeon knows that, and
you never
IDW knows that.
I mean, you never know. So Batman TMNT, a couple of things to get out of the way first. When I first heard about this, I'm like, I had two feelings. One of complete and utter excitement because it's Batman and TMNT, and one of complete and utter dread because it's DC Comics. And it's DC this started, the 6 issues started before they did their third relaunch, reboot, rebirth, whatever the hell. So this was still back in the New 52 days, and as soon as the IDW and DC team up, Batman, TMNT, yay! But wait, it's DC Comics. They're going to screw with the IDW continuity. So I'm like sending emails to Bobby back and forth. I'm like, what's going on with this? What is it? He's like, don't worry, it's its own thing. It's a separate 6-issue thing. It's not going to affect the IDW long-standing continuity that they have set up with their... I'm like, okay, good. Because that was my first fear, that DC was going to come in and basically just make turtle soup out of the IDW continuity. Because, let's face it, DC and continuity do not... They're like oil and water.
I going through it a second time for the record... I'm paying very close attention to what they said when they said it, and it really does sound like it's half pulled from the IDW things, but the Turtles are referencing battles that never took place in the comics and characters' motivations which don't match their motivation from the comics. So I think we ended up getting a really pure version of Batman, and we got a really pure version of the Turtles and the associated villains.
Right. And the thing about this is, as I said, this started back in the New 52 days, but this also started right when issue 50 hit. So issue 50 of TMNT, when, spoiler alert people, Shredder dies, I remember this number 1 had come out like a week or so, or maybe a month after issue 50 hit, and I'm like, and again, I'm like, sitting here emailing Bobby, I'm like, wait, what? How is Shredder alive? And that's when he basically said, don't worry, it's its own thing, blah, blah, blah. So I'm sure anyone that has been following us, hopefully you've been following us over the last 3 or 4 years, and following the IDW continuity for the last 4 or 5 years, hopefully you realize that this is its own thing, and Shredder can still stay dead in the Turtles verse on IDW and all that stuff. So, Batman TMNT, we're going to cover all 6 issues tonight, but we're going to do it 3 and 3, so we'll talk about the first 3, and then we'll take a break and talk about the second 3. Getting into it with issue number 1, we open up with Foot Ninjas and someone telling a story of what is going on in these panels, and it's basically Foot Ninjas in this laboratory, and they're coming in to steal something, and we've got other, let's see, what does it say here?
It's the security, the building security team busts in.
The building security team, yeah, that's right. The building security team busts in, but obviously they're no match for the Foot Clan because it's the friggin' Foot Clan. And then what happened next is something you'll never believe. Something more than darkness. Then they came in a flash of red, blue, purple, and orange. Now, if you get this issue and you read this on Comixology in their guided view, they single out each turtle, and it's amazing.
Oh, man.
It's so amazing. Before we go any further with the story, what do you think of Freddie Williams II's art on this?
When this was coming out, I did not like it. But I've seen him do more stuff. I've seen on some of the Turtle comic and art trading groups that I'm a member of. I've seen some of his commissions and convention sketches show up, and it has really, really, really grown on me over the past month or 2 or 3. So yeah, I love it, and it's good for me.
So this first issue is called Knights in a Half Shell. To get the creative team out of the way, you've got the script is done by James Tynion IV. Art and covers are done by Freddie E. Williams II. The colors are done by Jeremy Caldwell. Letters by Tom Napolitano. The variant cover was done by Kevin Eastman, because there's several variant covers, with Tommy Varga. The assistant editor for DC is David Pina. Group editor is Jim Chadwick. Obviously, Batman created by Bob Kane and Bill Finger.
They are attributing Bill Finger. Very cool of them nowadays.
Here it says with Bill Finger, but I don't care. They both created the damn thing. It's Bob Kane and Bill Finger, not with Bill Finger. Obviously, TMNT created by Eastman and Laird. So there's that. And basically, this giant panel here, we have the reveal of this scientist lady talking to Batman, and I love this art. I love the way Freddy has done the Turtles. Like, you look at the panel before that where she says, "I saw their eyes. They're inhuman eyes." Like, just that whole thing of the 4 of them, right? I just love the way he's drawing the Turtles. Now, when it comes to a certain quote-unquote father later, we'll talk about that later, because I love your art so far, Freddie, but can nobody draw Splinter right?
Nobody.
And we have I was really hoping Freddie would have put a 122 and an 8 joke in this next scene. I was really hoping for that. But, we got the pizza boy coming down the alleyway. And you got money tapped to the telephone pole there with a note saying, "Leave it on the street." Leave it on the street? Well, all right. And you got and you can clearly tell if you look at this panel after he walks away, without even looking at the word bubbles of who's saying what. You can clearly tell just by the eyes and the cheesy grin which turtle is which. One is Raph, one is Mikey. And Mikey, he can't reach the pizza. Of course, Raph just takes his sigh up there and just pokes a hole in the box. And of course, Mikey can eat the whole pizza himself, and Raph's like, "Oh, that's for all of us." So we have a cool shot of the Batcave as Alfred comes in and sees Bruce working on something. Now, let me ask you, Because this is the first time that we've really talked stuff out. Like, we've talked about stuff, but we haven't really talked about stuff outside of Turtles. But when it comes to superheroes and when it comes to Batman, what version is your personal favorite version of Batman?
I like to see the Batman that's been around, that already has the plan and already has things solved. It's not out of all the movie-verse things, I think Ben Affleck's Batman was the closest that we've got to being the actual Batman, gadgets, gears, and gizmos, and already had a plan kind of guy, except for the whole killing part, which then just absolutely is not Batman. But I think I said at the beginning, I think we have a really pure version of Batman. The quintessential version, I think, is existing in this book. And while you were reading over the credits, I typed in Tinian the Fourth, and it appears that most of his writing has been Batman of some variety. Yeah. So the dude understands his Batman, and reading this, he's got it. And there's more that happens, thanks to him later. But we got a good version of Batman. This version of Batman, and all of these issues, he's not overburdened with the weird continuity, the DC stuff.
Again, I mean, they have certain DC continuity stuff in this series, but
Damien's
it's not
around, but he's not here.
He shows up later, but and that's the cool thing about this 6-issue miniseries, that they pull in the writer Tinian and the artist Freddie E. Williams II. They pull in various Batman things and various Turtle things without making you feel like what you've read before it that's actually in another continuity story. Like, that's why I said this exists solely on its own as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 story arc that's self-contained, and you can walk into this. If you've been watching Batman since you were a kid, any version of Batman, whether it's Adam West, whether it's the Adam West cartoons in the 70s with Super Friends, whether it's Michael Keaton, whether it's Kevin Conroy, whether it's Reno Romano from The Batman in 2004, whether it's Diedrich Bader, fucking Oswald, I hate that guy. It's not Diedrich Bader's fault, I know, but I just. When I first saw Batman the Brave and the Bold, I could not wrap my head around, oh my god, that's the voice of Oswald from Drew friggin' Carey. There's just no way I can, but that's a discussion for another day. So it doesn't matter what version of Batman you grew up with, what version of Batman you enjoy, this is, or Turtles, this is a quintessential, I would say, storyline to read if you're just wanting a one-off, full front to end with middle ground story of Shredder and Shredder. Wow, wake up, damn it! Of Batman and the Turtles, and I just love how they've done this. I really, really do. Go ahead.
DC, I think, as much as I really want to read Superman and Batman and all of the DC comics, the DC comics are best in self-contained stories. And I think in this we get another really well done self-contained story.
Yeah, absolutely. So Alfred and Bruce have a giant conversation here, basically about, part of it is about the anniversary of his parents' death.
They're planting seeds in this story about calling Damien back. You should be with your family during this time. But Batman's preoccupied with a project, like he tends to do. It's a very Batman-Alfred conversation.
Yeah, very Batman-Alfred. And it kind of ends with the two of them. The Wayne Enterprises R&D facility has been assigned 10 patrol cars this evening for added security. Call them back and respectfully decline. And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because I was not a fan of this at first, and I'm still almost not a fan of it, but the Batmobile that they're using, or that he's using for this, is an homage to that old 40s Batmobile that actually looks like a Bat-Cat kind of thing.
With a bat in the front, yeah.
Yeah, and I'm like, how is that?
This is one of several versions of the Batmobile that we get to see.
Yes.
Thankfully.
Yes. Thankfully, yes. And the Turtles take the best one later. So, but yeah. We then go down to the sewers and we meet up with Killer Croc. And all I can think of, and I know that they even bring it up in this. All I can think of when I think of Killer Croc, I think of the BTAS episode, Almost Got Him.
I hit him with a rock.
I threw a rock at him. That's all I can think of, yeah.
Every time I see him, that's the episode. And that ends up being Batman. He's disguised as Killer Croc, isn't he?
Yeah. Yeah, because like 2 seconds before that, you saw a scuffle in the background. And yeah. It was a big rock. So you got Killer Croc and his cronies, and they're trying. What the hell are they trying to do here?
They were going to strip the Batmobile. He's got a tracker. Killer Croc's got a tracker on it.
That's right. That's right.
And it just happens to have somehow parked right above the what the turtles were using as their lair. And so Killer Croc shows up. He's like, "What? A bunch of teenagers live here," and he starts breaking the video games, trying to get him to come out. And he says, "All right, when they get here, just kill them because we can't have them go to the cops." And then he crushes Mike's copy of Pony Racers for the Sega Genesis, it looks like.
Oh, okay. Because at first I thought that was a whole... Because it's IDW as well. I mean, okay, again, as Bobby told me, this is a strictly DC kind of written book, even though it's in junction with IDW. I thought the Pony Racers thing was a My Little Pony reference, because My Little Pony is at IDW as well. But... I love how they're hiding up in the drain pipes. I thought that is hilarious. And it really does show you how large Killer Croc is compared to his other goons and compared to the turtles themselves. Even the turtles themselves are pretty larger than life in this. Mm-hmm. We then get to another break-in. This time around,
we're kind of putting together that the foot soldiers are trying to steal things to build something.
Yeah, they're stealing large pieces of technology to build a super portal or something.
And Bruce Wayne, Batman, figures out that they're onto it, so he has a bunch of stuff moved. It was part of the conversation with Alfred. Has a bunch of stuff moved, and he sets up this trap to catch all the foot ninjas doing their thing.
Yep. And we go back to Killer Croc and the Turtles beat them all up, and... There's shooting, there's weapons, there's all kinds of things, and I love this one panel. There's one of these goons from Killer Croc. What are you?
We're aliens.
We're aliens, bro. Spooky aliens. The coolest thing about this is I don't know how... I know how certain writers and artists work. I'm not sure how Tinian and Williams worked on this, but it was almost like when Williams saw those spooky aliens, he just had to add the smoke. Because just to make it Did
somebody... Oh, I see what happened. In the previous panel, when Raph scalped the gun, he accidentally shot one of the steam pipes above, so it's starting to shoot steam in the room.
Right, it's actually steam. Okay.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, so it's actually steam, but it looks more like smoke than anything else. Yeah, it's so cool.
The Tinian in this page here is obviously kind of connected with the Turtles in some way. Maybe it was he grew up with it. Maybe he just did a lot of really awesome research. But the banter between the Turtles, we really get to see that here. Mike's being, we're spooky aliens, brah, and Don feels the need to correct him. And then Raph jumps in and says, "Man, why are you so literal? No, it's not." And so you get to see the back and forth, and it's accurate. And thankfully, it's also not offending any previous continuity. These are pure turtles that may not be necessarily the IDW turtles. They're not the Nick turtles. They're just the distilled essence of the turtles brought out exactly what they are.
Yeah, they're just classic turtles. They're not, it's awesome. And I just love the next full panel with Mikey. This is for my pony racers. Oh, Mikey. And we go back to Batman, and he wants the Foot to tell them tell him what they are. And this might be the coolest panel, one of the coolest panels out of this issue. Batman meets the Shredder.
You know, in 50 years, the original art from this comic is going to be worth so much money. Putting these two characters together that are not licensed, usually together, you know, having that art that got printed is going to be incredible. Like the cells of animation in Who Framed Roger Rabbit with Daffy Duck and Donald Duck that are on the same cell. Those cells are worth a fortune.
Oh, yeah.
It's fascinating to me watching these two worlds collide like this.
Yeah, and it's so awesome.
Something else that happens on this panel, just slightly before Batman meeting Shredder here, is Batman's shaking up this foot soldier like, you're going to tell me everything because I'm Batman and people tell me things when I do this to them. And Shredder just flat up kills the dude. Something that I don't think they really engage in the IDW comics or really anywhere. I mean, yeah, but I mean, not like literally just stabbed him in the heart with a ninja star. Killed one of his own men.
It went through his heart. Yeah. Okay, I thought it went to the side of his head because the way that it's drawn is the reflection of the bounce off. Yeah. It looks like it's on the side of, but yeah, wow. Yeah, and it's coming in other pages. It's not the only time he just cold-bloodedly does that, which we get a really good Shredder because of the crossover and DC willing to do things that perhaps other people have not. Yeah, absolutely. And this part here where you're talking about where Batman's like, where are your metahumans? Meta? The Turtles? They're not. And then that's when he dies, and that's when they have the Shredder confrontation, and you know, Shredder goes to, you know, make himself disappear and all that and everything else, and Batman's just left with Turtles? I really want a very befuddled, confused Kevin Conroy voicing that line, right? Turtles? Yeah, I want... yeah. So we go back to the Turtles. They have defeated the goons. And we have Fu Manchu Splinter.
This bottom panel here, not a bad Splinter. He gives him a little mustache, but he starts the more he shows up on page, he gets hairier and hairier and hairier. It's like I think he just puts him too close to the camera and feels the need to draw every hair. Camera puts too close to the viewer and then draws more and more and more of the hairs.
Yeah.
But the so yeah, the Turtles are good job fighting, guys. Now let's get out of here. And the Batmobile was parked right above their lair, and so as they climb out of the sewer, oh my gosh, look at that car. It's beautiful. Or she's beautiful.
Donnie, I think she's taken.
And Batman's standing there.
Turtles?
Makes sense now, doesn't it, Bruce?
This first issue sets it up so well. Sets up the story, and it doesn't really give you the whole plot point of the story or what's going to happen. What's going to happen, but it sets everything up so well.
We're getting ready to see all of the interactions that we've paid the price of admission, for which we have paid the price of admission. Everybody's ready to start interacting now, and we get it.
Yep, absolutely. What would you... Well, how we're going to do this, folks, is we're going to rate probably the story as a whole instead of each issue. So we'll do that at the end. Overall, after you read this the first time and after you reread it now, are you still feeling the same way that you felt when you first read it?
No, I like it more the second time I've read it.
So you were still kind of jaded the first time?
Yeah, and I don't remember what I was... The art was kind of leaving me hanging a little bit. But I don't know why, because it's brilliant. It's amazing. And it was amazing, 6 months ago when this was coming out. But I think and I still am a little bitter that it's not Daredevil. And I didn't think the Turtles and Batman exactly fit together, but you know, when I first read comics, I don't get deeply into them. It's not until I read them the second time, like I've been doing this evening, where I can really understand what's going on, and I see more of the themes happening. I see more of the the connecting points. Well, Batman's a ninja. He trained with the League of Shadows. He knows all about ninja martial arts, and he is. He's power of invisibility and fear and deception. So the turtles and he really do fit together, and probably, if I admit it, maybe even better than the Daredevil and Turtles fit together. But it is definitely resonating more with me.
See, I don't know what and we can probably get to this at the end, but I don't know what your idea of a Turtles Daredevil story would be. Mm-hmm. But I would think one of them losing their sight could be a way to get, just like temporary blindness. Mm-hmm. That could be a way to have it neat. Fit with, like, okay, so in this story, you have Batman connecting with Raph more than anybody else as we go along, mm-hmm. as the issues go along. So I'm thinking maybe if Leo loses his sight,
like he did in Tales of the Turtles, issue 5 Blind Sight.
Yeah, because you couldn't do it with Donnie or Mikey. Like, don't get me wrong, Donnie's amazing, Mikey's amazing, but Mikey's too much of a goof. And there's certain emotional things with Raph and Batman that I feel are better with that than there would be with Raph and Matt and Murdock. Mm-hmm. So the second issue we open up with. Let me ask you really quick though. So we get the second cover from Freddie E. Williams, which is basically Batman and the Turtles. Looks like they're fighting somebody. It doesn't show another cover, but it looks like they are. And then we have the Eastman variant. What did you think of the Eastman variant?
I can't see it because DC does not put their variant covers in there, those dirtbags. IDW at least gives me those little tiny pictures in the beginning, but, all right, I can go look it up on the internet. My favorite part about opening this issue, and this time, I bought these as they came out and read one, and then a month later read the next one. Or were they weekly?
I don't remember.
It doesn't even matter because I read one and then I read one later. I was able to put that issue down and pick it right up. My favorite part about doing that is you see Batman, he's looking at the Turtles, and whoa, there they are. Whoa, there's that Bat guy. And then the next page is Mikey's inside a pizza restaurant with the window smashed in. I'm assuming he got thrown through the window. And he says, "Everybody run! There's a crazy guy in a bat suit trying to kill us!" And everybody in the pizza place is freaking out because there's this giant turtle yelling at him. And it just kind of, you skip like about 30 seconds of time, and you get to imagine that, the fight is going down, and Batman just kicked him through the window. And that's a lot of fun to kind of to see that jump like that so quickly.
And I love how I love how Titian works in the pizza. It's just like Mikey's like, ooh, pizza, absolutely amazing.
So he gets roped inside and pulled back out. It ends up, it was Batman. He grapple hooked him and pulled him back out of the pizza restaurant, probably to get him away from who he thought he was going to hurt, because it's a dangerous turtle monster.
Yeah, that's true.
I thought it was Donnie pulling him out of the restaurant, but he's actually taking the grapple hook off, and Batman's got his Kevin Conroy grappling hook device in his hand, so he was pulling him out.
Yep.
I was protecting the citizens, man! The citizens!
He was protecting the pizza. Come on now.
And then we get the big full panel here with a beautifully drawn Batman, a beautifully drawn set of turtles, and Leo taking his stance here. This guy's fighting on a whole other level. We need to strike together and overwhelm him. Like, Leo recognizes it and knows that this dude's serious. and then this, it's not quite a smirk. Batman says, "You're welcome to try." And this moment right here is where I get scared whenever there are crossovers, because it goes all the way back to just something as simple as the Avengers. 1950s, 60s, the first time these heroes got together, they would invariably fight, and the kids who were Iron Man supporters, and then the kids who were the Hulk supporters, they'd all get in their Iron Man would win, Hulk would win. And when my characters get together now here, it's like, who do we get to pick who wins? Where are the skill levels? Where would it be to keep the fans happy? And in this scene in here where all four turtles are coming after the Batman. Okay, so we've got four teenage ninjas. They're not as good as Splinter, who is essentially what we would consider the quintessential Asian guy who shows up in the martial arts movies but doesn't actually fight the bad guy but teaches the good guy how to fight. And then we got Batman, who's maybe a 37, 35-year-old guy who's been training since he was 11 to do this, who breaks down everything. The dude could probably take on Superman, somehow. So who wins? And I'm thinking, I don't know, man. But after watching this, you kind of get the idea. No. Batman. He fights multiple guys all the time. He's trained. He knows the Turtles are maybe a master in one, maybe two or three arts. Batman's got them all. So we see Batman really dismantling the Turtles in this.
This giant, before the fight starts, right when he says, "You're welcome to try," the panel, not the panel when they first go at him, but the next panel where you see him crouch down and you see all four of them coming at him. He looks like a damn sumo wrestler. Okay, I love the art that Williams is doing here, but Batman looks like he's 400 pounds here.
He does get a little big sometimes. But, I don't... I can't.
I mean, I'm not going to take points off for it, but it's just one of those things that I have to point out. I don't know if it's because of the stance that Williams has him in or what it is, but he looks like a fat guy.
It's like the Transformer crouch taken to the 10th level. It's just like, okay, that's much. But.
Yeah, and it's just in that. It's just only in that crouch that, I mean, the hind part of his legs, like under his right leg, it looks like it's going to touch the ground.
Yeah, that's. I'm looking at that saying, okay, yep, Photoshop that out there.
And then when you get to a few panels later, when Raph says to him, "What, you throw on some dumb Halloween costume and you think you can shock us?" When Raph hits him in the gut with the butt end of the sai, he looks like he's maybe 250 pounds. So again, I know it's an art thing going from action pose to action pose, but that action pose, Batman as a sumo wrestler, I'm sorry, I just can't envision that.
So the Batmobile's getting in on the fun, tasing the Turtles. Oh, I thought that was Leo, but that was Raph. That was Raph. Batman snatches the sai from Raph. What I'm liking about this fight, too, is as Batman's just kind of dancing ballet around these guys, they're all hitting each other. Like, he's putting them in positions, manipulating them, and making them tag each other, which is brilliant.
Yeah, he's essentially doing to them what they did to Bebop and Rocksteady in issue 50. Let's just make them hit each other. And you notice something, that every time he has one of them hit, he takes their weapons, like he's got Mikey's nunchucks, and he's got Raph's sai.
Because he knows how to use all those.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. I'm just loving this action, loving this art.
Yeah, this again was another thing that in a second time through, I'm like, oh, yes. Oh, this is way better than the first time. Leo comes in for an attack. He has Raph's sai, catches it, breaks the sword, which is what sais do. But Leo finally, after that, gets a blow in. But Batman rolls with it, kicks him back, and finally Splinter, the rat, jumps in. Enough! In that Japanese way that he would probably do that.
And again, Splinter, you're doing a good job, Freddie. You really are. But again, I think it's more of the posing, not the way he's drawing the character, but just the proportions just look weird. And maybe it's because the way he has Splinter's hand, like in the front of the panel, where he, the stopping motion, and then he's got his nightstick in his left. I don't know. It just looks strange to me.
The foreshortening looks good, but the perspective looks a bit goofy.
Yeah.
Splinter's, I guess he's crouched down, he's level with their knees, but then he's also level with their heads in the background. So there's goofy stuff going on, but Yeah, it's impossible to draw Splinter. You can't make him look like a rat or he looks small. You can't give him round ears because he looks like a mouse. Rats have round ears. They don't have pointy splinter ears like they all do. And the nose is goofy. I to be honest, I think I'm over being disappointed with the way people draw Splinter because it's hard. I've done it. I've tried, and I suck like everybody else does because he's they made him look a certain way back in the day, and everybody tries to get there while being more respectful of a rat. It's impossible.
You know, I mean, now this is just me and my childhood nostalgia speaking. Draw him like 87. That's all you got to do.
I'm gonna go look at that now here.
Draw him like the 87 cartoon. That's all you got to do. Anyway. So Splinter shows up, as you said. He tells the turtles to leave.
Okay, I just looked up a picture of 87 Splinter. 87 Splinter looks like that fat sheriff from the Robin Hood cartoon.
Oh, no.
Or that one guy who talks.
No!
So, no, don't draw him like that.
Oh, come on!
Draw him like 2003 cartoon. Okay. We're getting a little better there. He's just always had pointy ears, which is not a rat thing, it's a dog thing, and so he looks like a dog, he looks like a fox critter thing. Anyway, back to Turtles and Batman. Sorry, guys.
Yeah. Basically, Splinter tells the Turtles to leave, and he and Batman have an amazing fight.
That lasts all 4 panels before Splinter says, "We're outie!" Boom, and he smoke grenades and disappears.
And then what I love about the like over in the IDW books, people, when you have various turtles talking in monologue, you have their colors. So if it's red, it's Raph. If it's blue, it's Leo, and vice versa. With this, it's a green with a purple bandana. I thought that was hilarious. They call him Batman. So we got Donnie giving the lesson here, and then we got Mikey jumping in about how awesome he is, and of course Raph's gonna jump in and saying,
"The dude's nuts."
Yeah, the dude's nuts. He's more nuts than I am. I love Raph's little impression on the panel a few pages from here. This guy with the pointy ears, and he actually makes the pointy ear. I thought that was hilarious.
The Donatello in the bottom panel there. Trust me, you don't want to find out what a pizza hug is. That's probably my favorite Donatello face I've ever seen. And not just it's a really good turtle face. Yeah. Volumetric, a lot of expression. So that was wonderfully drawn.
What the hell is a pizza hug? Oh, God. And then, of course, Raph has to ask Leo what he thinks. And we then go to the awesome or not awesome bat board that Mikey has created.
Well, I back to that Leo thing. I like what Leo's thinking here as he's going back and reliving that battle. He says, "I've never fought someone like him. Shredder, maybe, but it was different. He was testing us, avoiding lethal blows. He wanted to figure us out. He was fighting like a detective. I've never seen anything like it. Wow, because I like it when a writer will pay homage or recognize one of those subtle things. Leo would pick apart that battle afterward. Yeah. He would be analyzing where every footfall went, where it went wrong, what was coming at him, and there he is. He's back there reliving that battle, thinking about, oh man, he fought like a detective. I love that.
Yeah, that was awesome. So Mikey's awesome, not awesome board, awesome side, red suit, battle bat throwy things. Come on, Mikey. Capes, electro car, not awesome. Kicked our butts, mean voice, and stole Raph's side.
Mean voice.
The first one I thought of, Kevin Conroy.
Wait. It was the Ninja Turtles 2, or no, it was the first voice. Oh, Raph's doing his Batman voice, as Mikey makes fun of the Raph. As bad as that movie was, that was a fun line.
Yeah. Raphael, let it go. But I lost a side. Let it go. Then it is gone. Yeah.
I would have loved a throwback to that line, too, but That's
awesome.
okay.
So we go to Batman or Bruce Wayne and Lucius Fox. And at first I thought he was dressed as Batman because the way the art first shows him when he's talking to Lucius, you're certain.
Yeah.
It's the way the shirt or the sweater or whatever it just, at first I thought he was in the Batsuit without the collar. I'm like, wait, what? I don't think Lucius knows. So we have that scene with Lucius, and this is where we find out that there's an abnormal strain, a kind of mutagen that does not exist in our universe and seems to be struggling to continue to exist. It's becoming inert. So this sets up the crux of most of the rest of the story for the Turtles, where it's like, hey, there's no real mutagen here for you guys anymore, so even though you mutated X number of years ago, you're going to be changed back. So we don't need none of Shredder's retro mutagen rays.
Yeah, we get that. It's interesting to think of the mutagen as that in the most recent live action movie discussed that too, that the mutagen still is in their veins doing things. And it's the same thing in this. It's a different way to think about it. It just seems like something like, ooh, I get it splashed on me and then I'm a turtle forever. But no, it's in their bodies and it keeps them mutated. So that's kind of interesting. But yeah, Lucius figures out they're from another dimension and that the Psi has this weird radiation and they find the blood and the mutagen in their blood. At the end of that conversation, Bruce is also talking about, hey, there's this piece of technology. I think it's going to be the next thing that they need, and we need to move it so it's not there and they don't get it, preventing the Foot Clan and he thinks the Turtles from getting it as well.
Yeah, but little does he know, Splinter sneaks in behind him, and Splinter knows the secret of Batman. And then we get to the Shredder and Penguin. God.
You are. I'm doing these pages because this is coming up to one of my top maybe 10 favorite moments in a comic and ever in any comic ever, and another cool point where you get to see these characters intermingle that come from different universes. Where in his own universe, the Shredder here is an ego. In Batman's universe, all of the Rogues Gallery, Batman's entire Rogues Gallery, they are huge personalities. Even the dorky ones like Oswald Cobblepot the Penguin have an ego. Yeah. And so in this page here where we see the Penguin and Shredder together for the first time, Penguin's making comments about, usually when somebody comes into town, it takes them a couple weeks to figure out what they want their thing to be, their get-up. Insinuating that everybody in Gotham is, dressed in some kind of costume. And well, yeah, Shredder, you've got this figured out. He's like, I certainly do. And Penguin, being the arms dealer of Gotham, got something for the Shredder, and he had these mercenaries, and they're dropping it off. Hey, we found your Wayne Tech resonance engine, that part that Batman didn't want them to get. And the mercenaries are like, hey, dude in the metal, we got you this thing. Where's our money? I don't see you carrying any money. Shredder says, there is no money. And Penguin's like, what? Kill him. All of you, kill him. Shredder says, no, they're already gone. We already took care of the guys you were going to kill us. And the mercenaries are still sitting there armed. And he says, what about my men? You don't know who you're dealing with here. And Shredder replies in the next page, in this beautifully illustrated full-page thing with Shredder and foot soldiers in the background. I don't care who you are. I don't care. Shredder walks into Gotham and is already, just owning everything because he's already figured it out. And it is exactly the way that I want my Shredder. Incredibly arrogant, but has everything he needs to back it up. And just absolutely flattens the Penguin, who is, one of Batman's top 3-4 villains. And what also happens in this whole book that I enjoy a lot is that the foot soldiers are more threatening here. We always see them going up against the Turtles, who are always and consistently better trained than the foot soldiers. But here, the foot soldiers are going up against people that don't fight ninjas, so they get to own. but the sheer ego that Shredder walks in to this page with, and throughout the rest of the book, it's priceless. It is exactly how you would cross this over. I hope there aren't any Oswald Cobblepot fans just absolutely furious that he would have taken that like a little bee, because he did just take it.
Yeah, he kind of had to.
But that is, I want that page as like my desktop picture. You don't know who you're dealing with. I don't care.
Yeah. Awesome. So we go back to the Turtles. What are they doing? They are climbing. Oh, they're climbing up to the Bat Cave.
Into the Bat Cave, yep.
And that's where the issue ends, with Mikey saying, okay, guys, if I'm dreaming, nobody is allowed to pinch me until I get to play with that dinosaur.
Yeah, he nails Mikey in this, too.
Yeah,
he's a little over the top, but hey, that's a Mikey. You know, a little over top is okay.
Yep, a little over the top is great. Way over the top would have been a little worse.
Yeah, I think the thing that's a little jarring with it is I think Mikey is written more like Nickelodeon series Mikey, and these turtles do not look like Nickelodeon series Mikey. He looks like a beefy bodybuilder.
Yeah, I think he's more of a combination of Nick Mikey and Out of the Shadows Mikey. He's I don't know. I don't hear Robbie Wrist coming out of his voice at all, which is kind of sad. Issue 2 overall, I really enjoyed it. Nothing in it made me want to just stop reading the story. They're building it up so well, and they're, just the way that Tinian wrote this is he is paying so much attention to taking care of how the Turtles operate and how Batman operates. Now, like you said, he had already written a bunch of other Batman stuff before. I don't know if I believe this is the first time he ever wrote any Turtle stuff.
Looks like it, according to the...
So he's taking extra care showing how each of these characters operate, and it's awesome. All right. Any other final thoughts on number 2 before we get into number 3?
Still amazing.
Yep. All right. Issue number 3 starts off the Iceberg Lounge, and we have a nice little large panel of the bat signal with Shredder and Penguin kind of standing back to back and having a conversation. Once again, this could be something that could be cool for a day. I almost wish there was like more of the cityscape or more of the Iceberg Lounge, like a full screen panel thing. And he and the Penguin have a conversation. Which is kind of interesting, and then this leads to the Shredder basically views the Penguin as disposable,
which just diminishes him. He is again one of the top villains, and he's just dominated him with his personality. Yeah, I'd love to hear how a Batman fan viewed this book. I mean, I know you're a Batman fan, but like a comic purist who hasn't read any Turtles before. I wonder what they're thinking with scenes like that.
Michael Bailey, I'm calling you out right now. I will give you this podcast, and you will listen, hopefully, and you'll let us know how you feel. We get, like I said, Shredder's basically poning the Penguin, and I love the line, the close-up. This is a full-screen image shot here. You belong to the Foot Clan now. Do not forget it. All as I can think of is Unicron talking to Megatron. You belong to me now. That's all I can think of.
So the Shredder has this scientist captured. It's the scientist who's in charge of, or rather, who knows the portal tech.
Dr. Khan.
Keeping him kind of under wraps, and foot soldiers are going to collect him because the Shredder said, "Hey, it's time to turn it on." And as they go to collect him, oof! Smoke bomb. Batman shows up.
Yep. Dr. Khan, if he was a little bit more British, he'd be a Wrath of Cumberbatch. And of course, at this point, we're 3 issues in. This is essentially the midpoint of the story. And, Batman shows up, as you said. And Dr. Khan's like, Batman, you can't do this alone.
Who says I'm alone?
Said I was alone? Yeah. And of course, that's when we see Shredder and the Penguin again. And Shredder realizes there's something wrong. And we see the Turtles. And of course, the Penguin's like, it's the damn bat.
Yep, Shredder recognizes there's more than just one.
Now this is a page to behold.
Another one that will be worth thousands of dollars someday.
But this here is a totally awesome team up, and I can't believe he had Leo say that line. Like I know Leo has his moments, but Leo is more of the straight man comedy. He's not the goofy comic. Like that is so a Mikey line.
That would feel better coming out of Mikey's mouth, but sometimes it's a hard thing to juggle with the Turtles, keeping Leo as serious as he needs to be and Raph as angry as he needs to be, but then making them actual teenagers. And I can forgive Leo saying that as a moment of regression, realizing he's only 15.
Yeah, no, I know. So
that's kind of what I go with that, I guess.
Yeah. So this giant battle is happening in the present, and then we go to 2 nights earlier, or no, not 2 nights. I'm sorry, 2 hours earlier, before this battle, and this is where Bruce kind of sets up the whole thing with Alfred. And Alfred gets an alert, and this is where we bring back in where issue 2 left off, and this is everything I have ever wanted in my entire life. Like you're riding the dinosaur.
Michelangelo, do not disrespect this man's possessions. Can I disrespect him just a little longer? Great line.
No. And I love Raph and Leo here. This place is crazy. This is the kind of thing a crazy person would build. The kind of crazy person who goes around at night with a mask and a cape and car that looks like him. You're wearing a mask. It's different. We're living up to tradition. I don't think I've ever seen an argument between Leo and Raph that makes so much sense than this one does.
Yeah,
like
both of their positions.
This is not Raph being a hot-tempered turtle. This is not Leo being the overbearing leader. This is not the 1990 movie. This is like how they should show their positions when they argue like this.
Mm-hmm. They're both right in this instance, which is really neat. And I think that takes a special amount of craft to write in, because it's easy to make Raph just angry, but it's not easy to tell us why and to make us sympathize with him.
Yeah.
And he does Tinian does a great job, especially in this scene, I think, showing that.
Absolutely. So Batman shows up, and they have a battle, and they kind of destroy the Batmobile a little bit, and Splinter comes in, and they all talk, and I think the only time in this entire book, and I know we always harp on this, and I know we should be over it by now, but I still have to bring it up. Only time I really see Splinter as a true rat is in this panel right here where he says, yes, and worst of all, their leader, the Shredder. We were in the midst of a deadly battle deep under the heart of our New York City. The battle was difficult, and we were on the edge of victory when a trans-dimensional being known as Krang, an enemy of both ourselves and the Foot Clan, teleported us away so that he would face no further opposition to his goals for our world. This panel of Splinter, that's a rat.
Looks a lot like Dan Duncan's Splinter that ended up on the back of the second hardcover.
Yep, absolutely. So we mentioned earlier about how they didn't really mess with the TMNT continuity over in IDW. they mention various things, like with Krang and battles, and I'm sure it fits in somewhere. But I'm not really concerned with it, honestly.
Yeah, it doesn't fit with the IDW continuity. I mean, the Shredder's helmet is definitely IDW Shredder's helmet. This Krang that they have in this flashback is definitely brain in chest with vapor breathing apparatus over the robot's mouth Krang from IDW. But there was never a battle under New York. The Krang at this point in the IDW comics is long gone. He's on trial with the neutrinos and is just not even there. So, and then they're showing Bebop and Rocksteady in there and some Rock Soldiers, which didn't. So it's really just kind of it's the Turtles. You know them over there, and Krang is there.
Yeah, it's a nice way to show the IDW continuity without having to get the DC readers on board with everything that has happened in the IDW continuity.
You can watch or read any version of the Turtles, and you get it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. I love Alfred. Sir, I've activated the cave's full defenses. They will not be able to escape.
And he's got a shotgun. And then Mikey again is just perfect. Oh man, you've got a robot dinosaur and a robot British butler, dude.
So lifelike. And, this is basically saying that they're going to get them home tonight. We have
a nice ad for Superman, so I'm skipping that page.
Yeah. Thank God digital does not have ads.
Yeah.
Most of the time it doesn't.
Michael Chiklis is in Gotham?
Yeah.
I didn't see that. That's another ad. I'm skipping that too.
He started season 2 as the new police commissioner kind of thing. Essentially, he plays a good version of Vic Mackey from The Shield. Very, very cool. So Shredder actually comes down to the cave and they have a fight. And is it the cave or
they're they're back at the Iceberg Lounge. They're
back at the Iceberg. Okay, yeah. They've jumped time again. So this is the battle from earlier the Iceberg. Okay.
Before we flash back to the Iceberg Cavern, when Splinter jumps down and says, "Nope, everything's fine," and Batman's like, "No, Alfred, stand down." Splinter delivers another line, driving home this theme that's laying out under all these books. Thank you, Batman. These are my children, my family. We need your help to find the Shredder, and we need your help to get home. That they're dropping that family thing, and anytime a writer acknowledges the Turtles' main theme as family, I get all cheery inside.
Oh yeah, absolutely. You know what the funny thing is? I don't think they say it in this panel, and I don't remember if it's said at any point in the rest of the 6-issue series here. I think I said this online after I read it. After I posted the banners of the episode that Steve made up for us. I want a Alfred Pennyworth and Splinter miniseries. One shot, something. I want an Alfred Pennyworth and Splinter team up. Get on that, Bobby.
You know those two had tea together at some point. Watching some soap operas during the day.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. So we get back to the battle here. And Shredder basically pulls his ultimate, and he's just going to blow it all up. He's going to open the portal right then and there, basically destroying the Iceberg Lounge. And they've got, they've got that going on. They've got Shredder basically wanting to, be the ruler of two worlds. Raph goes up and tries to stop the Shredder, and the Shredder just kind of, I'm waiting for a bathtub scene at this point, because Shredder basically just cuts an artery open, or almost does.
Yeah,
Leo,
Shredder actually using his claws is cool.
Yeah, it's very, very cool. All I can think of when I said the bathtub scene, Leo, don't. That's all I can think of. It's a Kodak moment. So they find out about the mutagen thing. They find out, that they might die or they might revert to their previous forms. Shredder escapes, but the helicopter he escapes on is no longer his. It belongs to Ra's al Ghul.
Wonderful. I did not see that coming.
Nope.
And it is the villain you put up against the Shredder. Before I got to this page, I'm thinking, like, that's it. You can't put the Joker with the Shredder. You can't put the Riddler with the Shredder. He's going to dominate them, and he would not tolerate the Joker. I can't remember what happens in 4, 5, and 6 because I haven't gotten that far in my reread yet, but the one guy who's going to have the ego and the ability to stand up to Shredder is Ra's al Ghul. And so, like, the fact that he shows up like, oh, no, stuff got serious.
Even though Gotham butchers it all to hell, it's not Ra's, it's Ra's. They said it in Batman the Animated Series. David Warner himself corrected Batman by saying that. So I always go by Ra's al Ghul because, I mean, come on. If Sark from Tron says it's true, it must be true.
What happened in Batman Begins? It was Ra's al Ghul, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's because they screwed it up.
Huh.
They screwed it up too.
It's not even a real name, is it? I'm going to go look it up.
I don't know. While he does that, folks, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back for 4, 5, and 6 after this.
Because the world needs another movie podcast.
The GEEK-STUFF Radio Network presents for your listening pleasure the Cinema Geek.
Hosted by Amanda, Kevin, Matt, and Dan.
Each week we dive headfirst in the landscape of movies as we discuss movie news, play movie games,
go in-depth on reviews,
and even have a top 10 countdown or two.
Also, don't miss our director retrospective series, where we review noted directors' movies film by film. Bottom line is, if you love movies and love podcasts, you need to experience the Cinema Geeks.
You can find us on iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, or GeekCastRadio.com.
I know what we're doing today.
Okay, Michael, if we're going to tackle this podcast thing, we've got to do something really special. It has to be cool, daily, in audio form, and undetectable by radar. Something that screams summer. I know, let's do a Phineas and Ferb review podcast. We'll call it the Podcast Organization Without a Cool Acronym, or POWCA for short. What do you think?
I think if we're not careful, Candace is going to bust us.
You can find POWCA on the GeekCast Radio Network, iTunes, Blog Talk Radio, and all of the other methods you find podcasts.
Okay, then. Carry on.
All right, we're back here on the Pull Bag, and we're going to be continuing Batman TMNT from IDW and DC, issue numbers 4, 5, and 6. Number 4, the main cover is done by Freddie Williams. It's got Batman and Raph with the Foot Clan kind of in the background there with a bunch of mutagen-colored stuff, and I assume that's a young Bruce. Yeah, that's a young Bruce because he's on his knees and
Pearls and dead parents.
Yep, pearls and dead parents. Pearls before swine.
I don't know that reference.
I've heard it somewhere. What I was most interested about seeing this team up outside of the actual story, because I knew Kevin Eastman was going to be doing the variant covers.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to see Kevin Eastman Batman, and wow, his Batman is pretty friggin' cool. So we start this one off with a detective. I don't know what her name is right off the top of my head. I forget who she is off the top of my head, but she's interviewing or interrogating a Foot member, and she's asking what his name is. I am of the Foot. We have no name, and it's standard thing.
That's neat, giving a face to those faceless Foot Clan people. We don't get a name, which is kind of neat. They've never been anything more than just silent background fodder for the Turtles, but it was neat.
Yep. I love her line. I should have Gordon committed for sending in over 20 of these maniacs. I don't like any of this. Oh, this is a doctor at Arkham. That's what it is. She's a doc. Yeah, okay. Dr. Zahir, because this is where we see Joker for the first time in this series. Won't be the last time we see him, and the last time we see him, he doesn't look too good.
I think I wish we wouldn't have seen him at all, ultimately, but we'll find out.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
I the only reason why I like it is because I like seeing him in Williams' style.
Mm-hmm.
That's like this panel here where it has the title of the story and then it's got her walking away from him and he's talking to her. I like the way that Williams designed him sitting in the cell. I think that's really cool. So we get out of Arkham. We go back to Wayne Manor. And there's like 10 pizzas in Alfred's hands. All I can think of is Home Alone. 10 pizzas times $12. That's 122. That's all I can think of. Pizza Wick. Oh boy. And poor Alfred. Sigh, teenagers. Pizza. I mean, really, I offer to make them a feast and they ask for pizza. And Mikey is he's railing the railing with his skateboard,
destroying 300-year-old woodwork in Wayne Manor.
Yeah, and destroying dinner essentially. And of course, all that matters to him is still gooey. So we go back down to the cave where Batman and the Turtles are either training or they're fighting. I think they've teamed up at this point.
Yeah,
so they must
they're
be
definitely
for
training,
this, yeah.
and Splinter's supervising and
Yeah.
teaching and.
Yeah, I like this. I like seeing essentially Splinter almost training Batman.
Yeah,
that's cool. That is really cool.
So the story of the fight here, Leo and Bats are going back and forth. Splinter says, "Hey, his costume is meant to distract and frighten. Don't let his unpredictable movements get you." And they fight, smack, block, block, block. And then Splinter says, "Watch your footwork. He's pushing you further than you think." Batman says, "I think his footwork looks just fine." He's like, "I wasn't speaking to you." And Leo grabs an arm and flips him. It was a neat thing to see that he was coaching both of them.
At the same time, without them really realizing it, that he's coaching both. Yeah, it was awesome. And of course, Donnie is in tech heaven with the Bat computer. Once again, another grin on his face that is just a priceless grin for Donnie. Let's see. Because they're still looking for all the stuff that Shredder is doing. And again, this is why I want to see more of this almost, and we'll talk about this at the end of the show. They're actually, I think it's IDW teaming up with DC, not the other way around this time. They're going to be doing Batman TMNT Adventures, basically taking Batman the Animated Series and mixing it with Nicktoon series Turtles, and that's going to be hilarious when we get to that. But I love Alfred and Michelangelo. Dude, come on! Calling me dude is not helping your case, young Master Michelangelo. Come on, old Master Alfred. Sigh. That's not how it works. Oh, it's just so funny.
The pizza almost becomes another character in the Turtles stories because, yes, now the Turtles are sharing the pizza with Batman, and Batman's like, "Oh, this is actually pretty good." A little hammy for me. Ultimately, I'm not the biggest fan of the Turtles' obsession with pizza. That was, like one licensing thing that went bad years ago, and now the Turtles always eat pizza. It's like, well, okay,
Well, it's been their food for 30 plus years, man.
It's been their only food for 30 years until Murakami did pizza gyoza in that new series. But still, it's still pizza.
Yeah.
All right, it's a sometimes food, guys. We need something a little more nutritious, says Leonardo, and they're like, "You're boring, dude. I want pizza." You know.
Like, I don't. They need something more nutritious. Are you kidding me? They're frigging ninjas. They work out. Their workout versus how much Mikey consumes of pizza kind of balances itself out there a little bit. So as the story continues, they have a conversation. Raph, gets angry as Raph tend to do, basically because they're dying and
he does not trust Batman or the Turtles at this point to be making the good decisions to save their lives.
Yep.
Oh, I'm turning past bunches of ads. There we are.
Yeah, and I do love... This is what I love about this story right now is Batman versus Raph. Basically, Raph, pointing out to those who may not, again, because this is a crossover between the two companies, some people who may live under rocks and only read Turtle comics and have never read Batman. This is why I love this exchange between Raph and Batman, because Raph just basically puts him on his ass verbally. Absolutely love that. We get back to Raish and Shredder, and they're opening the portal. And because there's apparently somebody coming through the portal. Lo and behold, 4! If only Tatsu was here. I'll never call golf a dull game again. And Casey shows up. And wow, Casey looks awesome.
Yeah, Freddie knows how to draw the Casey. He's not the scrawny little teenager from Nickelodeon series for sure.
Yep.
It took me forever to notice this, well, again, reading it a second time and looking at later pages. He's got mutagen. He's got tanks of mutagen on his back and tanks strapped to his legs and hips. So it's interesting. Like, okay.
Well, and this is actually explained later.
Yeah.
That, and again, they try to tie in the IDW continuity a little. They try to tie in the IDW continuity a little bit here with basically bringing Casey in, and then they'll bring in another person, and then they'll mention another person. So that's very cool. We get to the next panel, and all as I can think of is critters. All I can think of is Raph in the movie. That's horrible. His.
Where did they come up with this stuff?
Where do they come up with this stuff? Because seeing him in the trench coat and fedora is just awesome. It really, really is. Absolutely love it. And this is the point where Batman and Raph have more of their exchange, and seeing Raphael in the Batmobile is kind of unnerving. I like it, but it's kind of like, wow. That's a little strange there. And we get back to Alfred and the Batcave and the Turtles, and basically they have they set up an alert for any influxes of massive energy, and apparently there's one in a warehouse in the Narrows, and Alfred says, "But Master Bruce has already taken the Batmobile." I think you mean one of the Batmobiles. Oh,
and they're looking at the animated series Batmobile down there, just parked.
Yeah, animated series /89, and wow, So we get Batman giving Raph his origin story here with how his parents died and all that. And I can't say enough how much I love this thing, because it shows you that, the side of Batman why he is so angry when he is angry at times, and it also shows you that Raph is understanding, like, hey, okay, stuff happened to you. That's, stuff happened to us as well. And they, decide, oh, hey, let's be partners and whatever else. And
yeah, this page here is where the big theme, the connecting theme, starts to coalesce. Yeah, I'm bitter that it's not the Daredevil crossover that I had wanted, but these two characters do fit together better than I would have thought at first, because Batman is all about family, but it's the absence of family. It's the loss of his family that turned him into what he is, and throughout his career in the comics, he's always tried to rebuild a family with Robin and with the Bat family, and to varying degrees of success, but ultimately Batman is alone. And the Turtles, everything about them is family. Saving their father, vengeance for a lost wife, brotherhood, coming together, finding strength in the group. And so, you just have these extreme ends of the familial spectrum. And so they do fit together because they do exist together like that.
Mm-hmm. And after we get, the whole thing of, come on, Raphael, we have work to do. Yeah, I guess we do. We get the Batmobile. Crashing. Poor Batmobile. I love Donnie. Oh, God, Batman's going to kill me. Casey, is that you? Yep. Casey Jones, at your service. So Casey informs them about Raish, and that's kind of where
the mutagen from him, and they're headed to, what's that place called, guys? Does Arkham mean anything to you? Oh no!
Oh no! So that's how issue 4 ends. Still, I love this art. I think this art is amazing. I think it's really, really cool. I think Freddy's turtle designs, depending on the frame and the area of the issue, they change nicely, but they still remain true to the Turtles with Batman. It's Batman. There's not, I don't want to sit here and down Freddie Williams, but there's only so many ways you can draw Batman, and he does well with it. And I think what he does well with it is where he has the close-ups in this issue with Batman and Raph. I think those are really, really well juxtaposed. And then the story from Tinian, it's just continuing. It's, as you said, it's the coalescence of the overall story. I said when we did issue 3 was kind of the midpoint. Almost, I would say this issue would be another part of the midpoint as far as the story goes for bringing them all together.
Yeah, it's the end of the second act, I would say.
Yep. And we get, like I said, Raish at the end at Arkham. What are your overall thoughts for issue 4?
Coming together. The whole series has been better the second time through. And I keep, as I'm reading, I'm like, yeah, I remember that part really sucking, and then I get to it and go, no, I get it now. It's better now. And I'm still waiting for what I know happens in 5 and 6, going, that part's gonna suck. I'm not a fan of what they decided to do there, and then I'm probably gonna read it now and say, okay, that's fine.
Well, and again, I think that's that initial get your Batman out of my turtles, get your turtles out of my Batman thing. I really do think that's what it is, and that's what most crossovers are. It's like, you spent years and years and years reading Batman or years and years and years of reading turtle stuff, and you're used to the turtles only interacting, and we've seen it in the last 3 or 4 years that we've been doing this, where the Turtles have interacted with the Ghostbusters, they've interacted with a bunch of other people, X-Files, all this stuff, so we're not new to it. I think it's because this is the very first time that this has ever happened, that it's kind of like that first read-through is like, okay, I can get that. Hey, wait a minute, get those there better not be anchovies on that. If there's it's all Mikey on the Michelangelo. So we open issue 5 here with the bat signal. And Commissioner Gordon and Batman and the one of the greatest panels of ever. The Turtles sitting on the bat signal. I'm like, wait, what? So, I love Gordon here. Just close your eyes and think about retirement. Somewhere warm where the giant turtles don't talk. And of course it's Arkham. And Penguin shows up to be a snitch, and again showing the Bat villains with the Turtles. I think this is really cool. Just like showing Shredder with, facing Batman. I think that's really, really interesting. So they head off to Arkham, and they don't get too far because Leo.
The Turtles are starting to, yeah.
Yep. The mutagen is wearing off, and Donnie and Mikey are back at the cave playing pony racers, and Mikey beats Donnie. Did you notice that the pizza boxes have changed? So they must have ordered from a different place now. In that panel where it says winner, second player, where Mikey's congratulating himself and Donnie just, facepalm, it says Pizza the Fourth, which is essentially basically taking it off of James Tinian the Fourth. So that's cool. You still here?
There we are. I was getting a massive audio lag, like maybe 2 or 3 times since we've recorded. Like you'll start saying something and then it slows down and
shit. What's the last thing you heard?
Leo passing out.
Okay, Leo passing out. All right, let's see here. So yeah, they go on and head to Arkham. And as they're heading there, they don't get too far because Leo's about to pass out.
Yeah, the mutagen is wearing off.
Yes.
I wonder. I was debating as to what that would look like. I mean, are they going to slowly start to get smaller? But no, they're just kind of passing out. I bet they would eventually de-evolve, de-mutate. But interesting.
We go back to the Batcave, and Mikey and Donnie are playing pony racers for some odd reason. They must have ordered pizza from another place now, because the pizza boxes now say Pizza the Fourth after James Tinian the Fourth. And Mikey's all worried about his pony racers conquering the universe, and we got Casey and Mikey interacting, and then the Brat returns. I should say the Brat Man returns.
That's nice. It's good. 'Cause I'm not a big Damian fan.
Oh, I loathe Damian Wayne with a fire of 1,000 suns. Like, oh my God, this kid is just so mother flipping arrogant. Oh my God, I get it. He's part Al Ghul. I get it. He's Bruce and Talia's son. But Jesus, the only times I have ever enjoyed Damian Wayne, there's only one time at this point I can think of, and that's currently in the Nightwing Rebirth #1 issue. I like it when it's Richard Grayson and Damian Wayne. Because they were Batman and Robin when Dick Grayson was Batman. I like that. I like their brotherly back and forth kind of thing. But Damian on his own, oh my God. I'm not a violent person, but I want to choke that kid to death.
It seems, I don't know. He seems counter to what Batman is. Again, it's like too much family. Batman needs to be alone. And I don't know the comic origin of Damian very well. I mean, I read him in the Batman and Robin. I don't remember if that was pre-52 or post-52 or both. But he was just there. And I figured out that he was Talia and Bruce's son. And I don't know if that was like, oops, Bruce just had a kid with her, or if that was they stole DNA and.
No, it wasn't stole DNA. It was oops, they did it again. It was one of those things where, because the whole storyline with Raish, and listeners, please correct me if I'm wrong here, but I'm going off of the Batman the Animated Series DCAU continuity here. So the whole storyline as far as Raish and his whole thing of Batman and Talia being together is. Raish wants somebody to be able to take his mantle if he ever eventually does die. Because most of the time, Raish is portrayed as being immortal in the Lazarus Pit and all that. But, he wants a successor at some point. And he wants Batman. He wants Bruce Wayne to be that successor. The only way he can get that is if he isn't Bruce Wayne and Talia are married, dating, screwing around, whatever. So that's kind of how the whole Damian thing. I don't remember the exact dealings of how they, coupled their relationship, and as Sheldon would put it, had some coitus. But ever since they introduced Damian, I just, oh god, that kid just.
And you can't pull a Jason Todd and kill him either to get him out of the picture.
No,
not when he's a biological son like that. Unless you do, and then you throw Batman in a dark place.
Yeah, that would not be good for Batman, I don't think.
No, as obnoxious as that kid is, he can't be proud of that. Batman would just not tolerate someone as violent or as short-fused as that.
Yeah. So, I do think, even though I dislike Damian Wayne, I do think it's interesting seeing the Turtles fight Robin. I think that's hilarious. Because, sadly, Robin basically hands them their asses until Mikey, of all people, grabs him behind his neck there.
They're probably just afraid to hurt him.
Yeah. I love the line... That's what we're telling you, kid. We're not thieves. We're with Batman. Prove it. Damian. Oh, okay, hi, Dad. Stand down. And again, that is okay. This giant panel, it's Batman standing next to the car. Originally, when I read this, I thought it was Batman sitting on the car with Leo on his lap, but it's him holding Leo. Wow. Yeah, it's always go back and read comics a second time, folks, so you don't get too many misgivings here. This is where they mention, Casey mentions Harold, and which ties back into the IDW continuity. Because Harold is the one that sent Casey through the portal with the mutagen to fix them, to help them.
And he's the only IDW exclusive character that immediately comes to mind. Maybe Angel, but interesting.
Yeah. Well, Harold's the one that made the mutagen with Leatherhead, so I mean, when the whole, not the mutagen, wasn't Harold the one
in IDW?
Wasn't Harold the one that did the mutagen to help April's father or something? Or I don't. It's so long ago, I don't even remember.
That's what trade paperbacks are for. I should go get mine.
Yeah, I know. No, don't. All right. So we got Batman and Robin, Splinter, this is where Splinter basically tells him, you've already underestimated the Shredder, and we get that line, and we get... the Turtles are going to go home, and they're going to fix Leo, and they're not going to be worried about dying. And then Batman goes off with Robin to Arkham Asylum, which is not a good plan, I don't think. And I mean, I like seeing that Batman and Robin are fighting together, even though I'm not a fan of Damian, but I do like that. And then we have Mutated Penguin. That's a fugly design. The art's great, but just the design on Penguin. Wow.
The last page of this book is where I
Yeah.
kind of just don't feel good about what
Yeah,
they did.
it's
Like, okay, what Shredder's plan was to rule this world, so he teams up with the other guy who kind of wants to destroy the world and shrink it back down and control it to let's mutate everybody in Arkham, with startlingly appropriate animal mutations.
Yeah, the penguin is a penguin.
Mr.
Yeah.
Freeze is a polar bear. The Mad Hatter's a rabbit. Joker
Technically,
is a
that would-
snake? Is that it's like a viper or something? I can't quite tell.
Yeah, I'll have to when we get to issue 6. I'll
Yeah.
have to check it out. But it's the Mad Hatter becoming a hare. That's a marching order of a different color. Because normally it's the March Hare and the Mad Hatter from Alice in Wonderland.
Yeah.
So, issue 5, I like it. I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting bringing Damian into the mix. I still, the one thing, and I don't know if it's a traditional thing with them or whatever, I don't know. The one thing I don't like about Damian design-wise is a fucking hoodie. I'm sorry, I just can't get the fact that he has to wear a damn hood. I just, whatever.
I still can't tell the reason that they put him in all those bright colors. The hood, yeah, black trimmed with yellow. But whenever I see Robin running around with my Batman, my Dark in the Shadows Ninja Batman, I think of the Tiny Toons with I think it was Hampton and Plucky,
Yeah,
and
Plucky
Hampton
is
was like
bad.
the bullseye, and he had the bright colors,
Yeah.
the target.
Yep. The return of Bat Duck. Yeah. Overall, issue 5, how did your interest decline as it went to the climax here?
As we get to that last page, I'm like, oh crap. The rest of the issue is fantastic. This issue 6 will get made or will fail on as we uncover the motivation behind the Shredder and Ra's al Ghul doing this.
Right, exactly. So we open up issue 6, and we have Bane the Elephant, or Bane the Bison, or whatever he's supposed to be, basically fighting Batman and Robin, and Penguin's there. Yeah, Joker is supposed to be a snake, I guess. What the hell's Harley supposed to be? Because she's right there, but I can't tell.
A dog? It's a black nose. And it's just and poison ivy is some kind of like praying mantis insect. Yep, praying mantis.
Yeah. I do love Harley and her mallet, though. Her giant hammer, that's funny. But yeah, basically seeing Batman and Robin fight the villains as animals is a little strange. It really, really is. I like it. I think it's cool, but yeah, it's. So we get back to the Batcave, and the turtles are like, "Oh, we have to go home. We have to, not die." And I think is it Leo that says we can't, now he might die because of the problems we left behind. So, turtles being who they are and what they are, they're gonna go help Batman. Yep. And we get Ra's and Shredder. Did Shredder's outfit change, or is it just me? No.
The shoulders are a little bulkier, but
yeah, I was gonna say he's starting to look like Super Shredder. And I'm sorry, Mr. Freeze is a polar bear. That's a sad polar bear right there. It's like somebody stole his can of Coke.
And who threw together that cold suit for polar bear? Mr.
Yeah,
Freeze?
really? How the hell does that happen?
Well, yeah, it mutates the metal too. Kind of like that.
So we get Shredder and Batman, and I don't know if Joker's supposed to be a snake or a crocodile or an alligator. He looks more gator-ish than I don't know, but it's Joker versus Batman here and Shredder, and I do love this fight. And then bam, Wrath comes in. Sorry, Shredhead.
I get why they made Joker a snake, because he's got poison fangs.
Yeah,
and that's Joker's thing. And I suppose the ability to unhinge your jaw is probably good for a laugh.
That hurts my head almost in watching that first presidential debate. So
the Turtles and Splinter show up. Don starts trying to break Batman out of Mr. Freeze's ice cube. Mikey says, Raph, look, it's a polar bear with an ice gun. How freaking cool is that?
Yeah. And I love Donnie. I love Donnie and Batman's exchange here. Need to face the Shredder. I might be able to help with that. We brought something along for the ride, barely fit in the car. I tinkered with it a bit. You'll be pleasantly surprised. And then, a few panels later after the polar bear thing with Mikey, you get a turtle bat suit.
Yeah, the Intimidator suit, the pet project that Batman was working on, it shows up, and yes, it's got a little turtle inspiration happening in there. 2 toes and something that looks like a shell on the back, and a paint job. Mostly black, but the turtles' colors are...
It's blue, red, purple, and orange, along with green, which is very, very cool. What my question is if there's only 2 toes, how does Batman's foot fit in there?
It's probably behind the toes. I bet it just scales him up a bit.
Yeah, probably. And I know that's a logistical thing, but still, that was like, wait, how does that work?
It's looking too far behind the curtain.
Yeah, exactly.
In a later small panel, Splinter is wielding
nunchuck?
No, I got Harley Quinn's hammer.
Oh,
Gosh, I couldn't think of her name. My brain farted. I don't like that character
Yeah.
either, the way that it's gone. Animated series, yes. Everything after animated series, no. But so I blocked it.
Yeah, Splinter with that. Wow, that's dang. That's a step up from the nunchucks he used to use.
Leonardo and Ra's al Ghul sword fighting, that's kind of a neat.
That's epic right there. I mean, because normally you see Batman and Ra's sword fighting, but seeing Lee... And again, this series is all about how you can get each of these franchises to mix and mingle with each other. And yeah, that is so very cool. And you got Batman versus Shredder, where Batman basically just punches him right in the face.
I would almost think that this moment, right here, Leo and Ra's fighting, happened in the pitch room when they're thinking, okay, what cool interactions are there? And then they come up with the family thing, and then they come up with Alfred and the pizza line, and then we say, wait, doesn't Ra's al Ghul fight Batman with a sword? Who's the best swords? Leonardo and Ra's should fight. We need to put him in the story. And so then they write him in 3 issues earlier, just so this fight scene can happen.
Yep, absolutely. So as the fight goes on, we've got a lot of good back and forth. We've got Ra's pulling a Star Trek line. This is futile. Blocking every blow. Just keep powering through. And Leo basically shouts, attack him together. Which kind of works. And I love this full page with Batman and Shredder, where Shredder says, "All right, then, no more games, just blood." When you open up, that full page panel with Shredder and Batman in the center and all their moves around all the back. Oh, that's a good page of art right there. That's awesome stuff right there. Absolutely love that.
boom, takes Shredder's helmet off with an uppercut.
Yep. As, you're supposed to do. We get... What's that?
Splinter clobbers Shredder with the hammer. Soldiers, bring them down, Splinter says. I'm afraid they're resting. I recommend you should follow suit. Bam!
Yeah. And then a few panels later... I love Damien. Raph's like, where did he go? He'll be out of the country within 20 minutes. It's not worth the rat chase. No offense, none taken, young man. I just love that. And then April, of all people, shows up with a medical bag on her arm.
Through a portal, because...
Through the portal, yeah. Again, mentioning Harold, and I just love seeing the Turtles stuff in, we've been doing Turtles stuff for, like I said, 3, 4, or 5 years now, and we've seen many different artists on the IDW books. We've seen Dan Duncan, we've seen Mateus Santaluco, we've seen a bunch of other artists, Rhonda does the colors, we've seen Sophie Campbell, that kind of thing, but again, seeing other Turtle characters in Freddy's style is very cool. And yeah, his April looks really, really cool.
Yeah, I agree. So everybody's starting to say their goodbyes, apparently, because the portal's open. Yeah. I think in the background, Mike and Raph just chuck Shredder through the portal, kind of unceremoniously. Or no, they're foot ninjas getting chucked through. Unceremoniously. Oh
yeah, they're chucking the foot ninjas through. Yeah, and then Batman says thanks, which he never really does, and then Raph comes up and gives him his bandana.
That's cool. Now, what I want to see is that bandana end up in somebody's background shot of the Batcave. In regular DC continuity.
Oh,
just in the background, because, somebody always likes drawing the Batcave and the big fold-out pages, and they draw every single Batmobile that's been back since the 1960s, and then all I need is a little tiny case with a little bit of red in it, and I'll be happy.
I was going to say, they kind of do that here at the very end, where it's, they walk away and the bat is coming through in the chair and Raph's thing is there and it says the end for now. I like this series. I think it's good. I think it's interesting. For a minute there between issues, the end of issue 4 and the end of issue 5, I was kind of worried, where are they taking this? How are they going to save the day? And it kind of wrapped up pretty nicely.
I think the end kind of came on pretty quick. Once they got to Arkham and needed to mutate all the bad guys, I think the end just kind of, poof, everybody's defeated, hey! And because I wonder if that was, we only have 6 issues, and oh shoot, we're running out of, as they're writing it. And because I think they almost set the Joker up for something in the middle, and then I kind of think they punk him in the end.
Yeah.
And they punked the reason they were at Arkham with all the mutated bad guys. So that's kind of where I'm feeling about the end and feeling that it fell flat. But I don't want to throw Tinian under the bus completely with that, because you have 6 issues. You can't go on forever. And the character stuff is so spot on that I'm thankful for it. And I'm almost thankful. I could potentially be more thankful than I feel that the Joker didn't end up in it, because I really do think he was kind of incongruous. Or he didn't have that perfect fit, like Raish and Leo being swordsmen. He doesn't have. He doesn't. Like, what is he going to have banter with Michelangelo? No, that'd be creepy and icky. So I think maybe either that's why they kind of diminished the Joker at the end, or they just ran out of space to give it the amount of time that they needed. So
I mean, they gave Joker his non-mutated appearances. They gave him that in in the beginning of Arkham stuff, and then they gave us Harley a little bit, and they then sprinkled the two of them throughout the final two issues where they're both mutated, and obviously Splinter takes Harley's hammer away and starts using it himself, and that's really all you need. Like, this was never a Joker-centric story. This was I could see if this was supposed to be a joke, but this was more of because they're ninjas and it's Shredder and it's Raish. It's basically it's basically Shredder and Raish and Batman and the Turtles. Think of this as you remember. Well, you should know you're watching through it. You remember World's Finest, right?
No.
Superman the Animated Series, World's Finest. You don't remember that?
I don't think I've gotten there yet.
Okay, well, this is a big to-do back in the day. Superman the Animated Series has a 3-parter, which they turned into a full-length DCU movie. They basically just cut the 3 parts together. It was called the Batman-Superman movie. This was the first time in the DC Animated Universe that Kevin Conroy, Tim Daly, Clancy Brown, and Mark Hamill all appeared as Batman, Superman, the Joker, and Lex Luthor. So think of this as something like that, where you've got Batman and the Turtles and then Raish and Shredder, where it's like these two opposing, these 4 opposing things where you just don't know how they're going to interact. And we saw how they interacted, and we saw that eventually both sets of teams kind of came together, even though obviously the good guys have to win in the end. So yeah, that's the way I kind of view this at this point. I really enjoyed this. I think it's going to be fun to see if they ever go back to this. I don't know if they're going to find a story that's good enough or that's going to be interesting enough to go back to doing this, or finding a way to get Batman into their universe somehow. Because what we're going to talk about at the end of the show here, after we take a break here in a moment, and I'll let you give your final thoughts and stuff before we go, but the next thing is IDW is doing with DC is the Batman TMNT Adventures, which, as I said, is DC animated Batman from Bruce Timm and them with the Nicktoons 2012. So it's not the exact same versions of the characters. It's not like this. So I'm not sure where this could go, if it does go anywhere. Overall, what are your thoughts on this series?
I like the first 5.5 issues, 5.25 issues better the second time around than I did the first time, by far. I see more of the intricacies that Tinian put into it. I still think the ending falls flat and comes off a little both abrupt and kind of heavy, in that all the Bat villains get mutated. But hey, whatever. It was kind of cool, and this is something they could hopefully come back to. I think a sequel, Batman would definitely need to go to their New York, and that might be a good opportunity that Joker gets over there and starts screwing around in that world, because then I think the Joker would end up having 2 villains. He'd have to fight the Shredder off him, because the Shredder would be annoyed, and of course Turtles would help their friend Batman capture this really bad baddie over there. And I think Shredder would have a ball with Rocksteady and Bebop. I think he'd love those guys.
You mean Joker?
What did I say?
Shredder.
Oh, yes, Joker would have a ball with Rocksteady. No, this Shredder, I don't think. No, I think he's done with them.
Yeah, probably is. So. All right. Overall, the whole story, 0 to 5, what would you give it?
Oh.
I know.
Oh, man. A 3.75. No, that's too much. Let's do 4. We'll go with a 4, because it was better than I had thought.
All right. I'm going to give it... I'm going to give it a 3.5 overall.
Yeah, I think we should average our scores together, and there we go.
Yeah, I think I'm going to give it a 3.5 for myself, because I think it started off very well with showing, Batman learning about the Turtles, like we already said. The Turtles learning about Batman, them eventually having team up, and then the villains and all that. I think where it got a little crazy was mutating all the Arkham inmates, as you said. The art is amazing. Like, for me, my 3.5 is mainly for the writing and part of the story with like I said, with the villains. But the art in itself, if I could give the art a separate grade, I'd give the art a 5 straight away, because I just absolutely love this art. And the fact that they, threw in the BTAS Batmobile, that's just extra points right there. So, absolutely love it. We're going to take a quick break, and as I said, we're going to go over the first 2 solicitations for Batman TMNT Adventures after this.
The neutrinos have eluded us!
Hello, geeks and geekettes! Looking for a podcast that covers a vast array of topics? Then check out Altered Geek Unleashed, where we discuss our thoughts on this week's geeky news, tech, gaming, television shows, movies, cartoons, comics, and more. So, get altered, get geeky with the Altered Geeks, every Friday on the GEEK-STUFF Radio Network.
Hey everyone, this is the Music Man 08, one of the co-hosts of Beyond the Night with TFG1 Mike. Would you like to hear variety? Would you like to hear it out of the clear blue sky? If you've said yes to both these questions, then head on over to www.sky106.net, and why don't you check out the schedule to find out when your favorite DJs are on. You may also fill out an application, follow us on Twitter, send us feedback, and tune in with your media player of choice. You may also add us to Skype. That website again is www.sky106.net, where everything is out of the clear blue sky.
Happy? Call me when it's important, and not before.
All right, folks, we're back here inside the pull bag, and we're going to be talking about Batman TMNT, the new 6-issue miniseries, I believe, from IDW and DC Comics. This is going to be the November 2016 and December 2016 solicitations covering issues 1 and 2 of this 6-issue miniseries. So you've got Matthew K. Manning on the writing, John Samaravia on art and covers. When villains start to mysteriously escape Arkham, Batman seeks to track them down. What happens when he discovers that they have left Gotham completely and entered the TMNT's New York City? Dun, dun, dun.
That sounds like my idea.
So this one is the bullet points on this. The animated worlds of the current TMNT Nickelodeon cartoon and Batman the Animated Series collide in this outstanding miniseries, the greatest all-ages crossover of all time, featuring villains and allies from both universes. The influential Batman the Animated Series returns to comics, variant covers by Hilary Barta and Nick Bradshaw. Wow, wait. So I gotta find a definitive answer. Maybe I can ask Bobby. Is it supposed to be 5 issues or 6 issues? Because the first solicitation says 1 of 6, and then the second solicitation says 2 of 5. So yeah. Anyway,
I'm gonna guess that it was not written in stone until it's probably just 5 as they got the story done in 5.
Yeah, it probably is. I'm actually going to pause the recording because I remember reading a story about this. Batman at some point. Alright, so Batman TMNT Adventures number 2. Matthew K. Manning on writing, John Samaravia on art and covers. The Joker and Harley Quinn escape Arkham Asylum and make their way to the TMNT's NYC, where they meet none other than the Shredder. Meanwhile, will Batman, Robin, and Batgirl be able to form a truce with the Turtles? Dun, dun, dun.
All those stuffed critters she's standing on are the villains. And April's under there. And Casey's under there. Wow.
Okay, so the covers for these issues. Number 1, the main cover is Batman with the Turtles. The variant for the sub A variant, which lists it as issue number 9 for some odd reason, is Kevin Eastman's variant for number 1 here, with his style. And again, this is what I like here. I haven't seen Kevin do too much with the Nick Turtles. Like, he's done stuff, and Turtles is his thing, obviously, but I think that's really cool. But for me, the coolest cover for issue number 1, the one that I absolutely would love to have, is the sub cover with Batman and the Turtles and the Bat Signal. Oh,
that's the one I'm going to be hunting for.
Oh, that one's awesome.
There's something about that Mikey.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, there's always something about Mikey, but yeah, no, that is so cool. And then number 2, as you said, it's Harley with the mallets, and you notice it's Harley with her mallet, but it's because it's BTAS Harley. They essentially just gave her the new 52 Harley mallet, which is fine with me. I'd rather look at black, red, and white Harley than red, white, and blue Harlot Harley all day. But yeah, it's her sitting on a pile of the characters, and yeah, she's basically sitting on April's neck. Wow, that's not even right. Look at Batman in that cover. He's got tape over his mouth.
Yeah, I hope that whatever is going on in that cover, it relates to something in the book, because I'm kind of interested in figuring that out. And then the second cover, the sub cover for this one is basically Batman in the sewer with the Turtles. I think the main cover for issue 2 with Harley is the better cover out of these two. And like I said, while I do like all 3 covers of issue 1, that one with Batman, the Bat Signal, that's the best cover. So November and December, look for that. Coming up here on the Pull Bag, again, not sure what's going on, what episodes are going to be coming out. We do have plans. For Joe and I with Turtles, our next adventure will be one of 2 things. It'll be the Batman TMNT adventures, or it'll be, well, probably both. Actually, there's 3 things now that I think about it, now that my brain's actually starting to work. We got 3 things on deck. We're going to eventually dive into TMNT Universe, which is the second ongoing from IDW, and we are going to be covering the Street Phantom story arc in the main ongoing, which is issues 61 to 64. And then we've got Batman TMNT Adventures to cover at some point. So plenty of Turtles stuff coming up here inside the Pull Bag. Anything you want to pimp out or promote? Hey, I don't even know if this podcast will be up on the air before, but this Saturday, the 1st, is our second geek sale of the summer. Should be the biggest one ever, and hopefully continue on with this trend of having way too many vendors. We are a legit not pawn shop. What do they call those things? Flea market. We're like a little flea market now. Only no baby clothes and no power tools. It's just like all comics, video games.
I was going to say a swap meet.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's kind of what you would get at a comic convention, minus way expensive prices and a very expensive admission. So.
Yep, absolutely. So yeah, and this episode will go up before October 1st. So yeah, if you're in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area, correct?
Yep,
or
that's
is it
correct.
Somewhere? Okay. So if you're in the Grand Rapids, Michigan area, head on out to the Geek Stuff Garage Sale. Links to where you can find Geek Stuff Garage Sale will be on the post for this episode. Anything else you want to say before we get out of here?
I think that's it, man.
Yep. I think we're going to get to more Turtle stuff eventually, and we might even be doing some Batman Beyond stuff here in the future for Pullbag with Steve and I talking the 2015 series. So make your greatest game in the comics, and we will catch you next time.
Woo-woo!
I was waiting for that.
It's Batman! I'm Batman, damn it. You've just heard the latest episode of The Pull Bag, the GCRN's comic review and discussion podcast. There are several ways to get in touch with us and leave feedback for the show. You can visit the website, GeekCastRadio.com, where you can comment on the episode and all of our different podcasts. You can rate our show on iTunes. Be sure to leave us feedback. Call the voicemail line, 502-526-5821. Please remember to tell us the show you were leaving the message for, and your name. Become a fan of us on Facebook by searching GeekCast Radio Network. Send us an email feedback at geekcastradio.com. Follow us on Twitter at GeekCast Radio. So until next time, make your great escape into comics and unleash the geek in you.